So this year, on the 19th of October, it is Developmental Language Disorder, or DLD for short, Awareness Day. This is a new diagnostic term that's going to be used to describe children and young people with speech and language difficulties. Language and communication skills underpin absolutely everything that we do, not just our ability to express our needs and thoughts, but also to access education, socialise with others, and to make friendships. Language and communication skills are something that many of us take for granted, so it's really difficult to understand just how much having a language impairment can affect a person's life. I work as a specialist speech and language therapist at Moor House College, which is an outstanding specialist school for children and young people diagnosed with language difficulties. I work with students individually, in groups and in the classroom, where we focus on learning new skills and developing strategies to support communication through the use of specialist systems. DLD is actually very common and it affects approximately 2 children per classroom. However, many people who work in education have never heard of the term or fully understand what it means. That's why this year our goal is to raise awareness of DLD through sharing the experiences of our young people and explaining how speech and language therapists can support these students.
It's a certain disorder of when people have trouble understanding and it affects their talking, their language, and just the ability to understand others.
It kind of feels like you're in a different world and you don't belong anywhere.
At first you don't feel like you have anything wrong with you until you start doing work and then you clearly see there's something there.
DLD feels like it. I feel like I have to explain myself and I find it really difficult explaining myself sometimes.
But yeah, I think it is invisible because people don't see it. Like, it's not a visible thing. It's not something that's like tattooed on your skin or visible like in my features. It's something that's mentally in my brain that I can't process as fast or as clearly as other people can.
Students with DLD also have something called word finding difficulties. This is where they know the word in their head, but they have difficulties accessing it. This has real ramifications on conversations as they often can't get the word out, which can be really frustrating and can be really stressful when they are picked on in class to answer a question and they can't find the word.
Word finding is like they can't even think of a word and they don't know how to say it, and I think they might say a wrong term. So, for example, if a person's trying to think of the word cat, they're like, oh, I don't know what this is. And then another person say, what do you do with it? What does it look like? And then they will describe it like it has 4 legs, it's ginger, it could be black or anything. And then like, you're thinking of cat, and I'm like, cat! And then they'll get the word.
You're trying to think of a word in your head, you find it, but you can't find the word, what you actually mean, and then you try to explain it and it just comes out all mumble jumble.
How does it feel when you've got an idea and you can't quite get it out in the way that you want it to?
It's frustrating because it's like the case of it's just like you know it's there, but you've got to kind of search for it. But I have learnt strategies to help me with it, and sometimes it does hard, but I never give up.
Alongside DLD, students can also have difficulties with their speech. This is the sounds we use when we talk. This means that often the communication partner doesn't understand what the person is saying, and the person with the speech difficulties can get really frustrated and annoyed that they can't get their message across.
I helped Joe. If someone was like, didn't understand Joe, I would like help them, help him what he says, because he finds it really, you find it difficult, don't you? Yeah. You find it difficult, and they find it really difficult as well, and you find it frustrating.
Some people,
get it like that,
really get some people.
Other people just don't.
Not even.
And then they get under.
Yeah. And Dan was saying, but my speech, I was better, yeah.
It can be really difficult for students with DLD to form and maintain friendships. This can be for a number of reasons. Students with DLD find it really hard to keep up the pace of conversation and also understand the language used in conversation. For example, idiomatic phrases, humour and jokes.
Is it difficult to make friends when you've got DLD?
Sometimes it is, because sometimes they don't understand.
It gets very difficult because you not being able to understand or talk to people, it does get quite lonely.
Students with DLD may not be able to access the curriculum due to the barrier in understanding and using language, and as a result they may start to fall behind in class as they aren't able to understand the complex vocabulary and grammar that's being used. What can your tutors and people that are teaching you do to help you?
I would say, I would definitely say to actually slow down, because that always helps. Because it's like the case of when everyone's speaking about something fast, it's like it's really tricky to understand.
Students with DLD have difficulties learning, retaining and using vocabulary. They need explicit teaching, often from speech and language therapists or other professionals, to work out what the word means and how to use it in a sentence.
My speech therapy helps me with my my vocabulary of what it means. Like right now I'm doing a course and I'm learning the new vocabulary of what they mean and how do I use these words in sentences.
Well, what helps is any vocabularies that you never heard before comes in good examples and explanations, as in you show what it is, like its colour, red, blue or green, as in noun, verb or adjection. Shows you what it means and probably give a sentence example.
I ultimately want the students that I work with to leave Moor House School and College as confident and happy young adults with increased independence, to have formed friendships and to have strategies to support their communication moving forward. Do you think that everyone should know about DLD?
Definitely.
Yes.
I think they should, yeah, because it would help me if people would know that. Because if I would go into a job interview and say I have dyslexia and language disorder, they would be more aware of my limitations, and they could help me with those limitations to make it stronger for me.
People need to understand how, when we are saying words, they don't need to take it in the wrong way. They need to understand how we feel and how we don't want to push them away. We just want to make people understand that.
And more people can speak problemen miljögalen benign.
I think I have a really fantastic job because I work with such incredible young people who are so determined to learn and succeed when the world around them can be a really difficult place.
Can you tell me how Moor House has benefited you?
Oh, entirely. Entirely. Like, when I first came here just to visit, it was a thing of fantasy for me. The teachers and the staff here are so friendly. They're so helpful and respectful for our independent spaces, for one. They help out if they need to. They give you space if you need it. And they also try to make you feel welcome with the students and the social side of things as well.